Hey, church, today we'll be in Genesis chapter 17, and I wonder, have you ever at any point in your life wanted a different name? Like maybe as a child, you just thought it'd be cool to have a different name. I remember for me, my dad and I share the same first name. I actually go by my middle name, but I thought it would be so awesome, right? If I had the same full name as my dad and you just simply called me Junior. Never happened, obviously. And if it had and you were calling me by my middle name, that middle name would be Milton. Kind of weird. I'll just stick to David. But anyway, in this chapter 17, we see significant name change. The first happens with Abram. Abram has this encounter with God. He's 99 years old, and God says, "Walk before me faithfully and blameless, and then I will make my covenant between me and you and will greatly increase your numbers." If you know anything to this point in Abram's life, you know that he and his wife Sarai have not been able to have children at this point. He has one child by Hagar. That boy's name is Ishmael, but he has not been able to conceive with his wife Sarai. And so for God to say, "I will greatly increase your numbers," has got to be pretty intriguing to Abram. But watch what he does. The first thing he does when God has come to him and just laying out this promise before him, Abram says, the Bible says in verse 3, Abram falls face down before the Lord. Something we should do, a place of humility, a place of worship, a posture of worship before the Lord. And God said to him, "As for me, this is my covenant with you. You will be the father of many nations. No longer will you be called Abram. Your name will be Abraham, for I have made you a father of many nations. I will make you very fruitful, and I will make nations of you, and kings will come from you." Again, God is telling him, you are going to be extremely fruitful. All these people, generations are going to come from you. And he's thinking, Sarah and I have not even had a child yet together. We're both older in age. And the name change is significant because he was Abram, which already meant exalted father. But now God said, you're going to be called Abraham, which most likely means father to many. And so a little bit ironic at this point, right? He's not sure how this is going to happen. God continues to talk about what this covenant looks like. And then he says the covenant is circumcision. It's just this commitment. Any boy in your household from age 8 days and older needs to be circumcised. And if they're not, the Bible says they will be cut off from your people because they've broken the covenant between him and God. So this pretty strict covenant that God is making with Abraham, but a promise behind it. Then God also says, "As for Sarai, your wife, you are no longer to call her Sarai, for her name now will be Sarah." Another name change. "And I will bless her and will surely give you a son by her. I will bless her so that she will be the mother of nations. Kings of people will come from her." Again, I'm changing her name. You're going to be the father of many. She's going to be the mother of many. And what happens? Abraham falls down again before the Lord. May not necessarily like a position of worship in this case, because the Bible says he falls down and he laughs. And he's not, I don't think, laughing at God, like mocking what God has said. I think he just thinks that the entire situation, the weight of it is so unbelievable. He says, "Will a son be born to a man 100 years old?" He's kind of saying it to himself. And then, "Will Sarah bear a child at the age of 90? And Abraham then says to God, hey, it's almost as if he says, "God, this will just make it easier. If only Ishmael might live under your blessing, that maybe that'll be enough." And God says, "Yes, but your wife Sarah, she will bear a son." And here's the final significant name. "And you will call him Isaac." Call him Isaac. Isaac means he laughs. He laughs. And I think this is very interesting because either Isaac had a great sense of humor and he was already named, he laughs, so it fit, or maybe God has a great sense of humor and he's saying, You laughed at the thought. And we know later that Sarah even laughs at the thought of being able to have a child at this point in their life. And God says, I have plans that are bigger and greater than your plans. And by the way, your son's even going to be called He Laughs. God's ways are greater and higher than our ways. We need to trust Him even when the promises don't seem fathomable. And Abraham does that. He begins to, starting with his own self and with Ishmael, this process of circumcision with all the men and boys in his household. I want to encourage you to just trust the Lord. And when God comes to you, as He did to Abraham, with some incredible news that almost seems impossible, instead of finding yourself in a place of doubt, find yourself in a posture of worship and just trust what God has for you. Have a great day.